Pip wasn't like the other ants. He dreamed of the sky. Beneath a giant old tree, the world was a sprawling kingdom. Tall grass blades rose like a dense green forest. A single puddle shimmered like a vast, endless lake. Pip, a tiny ant with big dreams, saw it all differently. While others marched in perfect lines, his eyes were always turned upward. He was curious and playful, forever staring at the endless blue, wondering what it felt like to touch the clouds. The other ants scurried with purpose, their minds on grains and dirt. Pip's mind was on the wind. His colony bustled with predictable routines, a world of tunnels and trails. But Pip was an inventor, a dreamer in a world of workers. He wanted to fly. A morning sun glowed across the giant tree. Pip strapped leaf wings onto his tiny back. They were delicate, veined with the memory of the branch they came from. He climbed to the highest mushroom, took a deep breath, and jumped. He fell. The wind didn't catch him. The leaves fluttered uselessly. He landed with a soft thud on a bed of moss. The other ants paused their work, their antennae twitching with amusement. They laughed, a silent, synchronized ripple of judgment. Pip didn't give up. He found a fluffy dandelion head, a perfect white sphere. This would be his parachute. He climbed again, this time to the tip of a swaying fern. He held the dandelion high and leaped into the air. The parachute caught a gust of wind, then immediately fell apart. Seeds scattered like tiny failed stars. He fell. Again. The ants laughed louder this time. Their laughter echoed in the quiet hum of the colony. Pip's final invention was his most ambitious. A pebble rocket. He'd seen a beetle launch itself with a powerful flick of its legs. He tried to replicate it, using a bent blade of grass as a catapult. He placed a smooth gray pebble on the makeshift launcher, held on tight, and released the tension. He didn't fly. He tumbled. The pebble shot sideways, and Pip was thrown into a pile of dirt. The ants shook their heads, their collective message clear. Stay on the ground where you belong. Pip's heart felt as heavy as the pebble he'd tried to launch. He had failed. Then the world changed. The blue sky vanished, replaced by a dark, angry storm. Calm colony life shattered as heavy rain began to fall. Fat drops hammered the ground, turning dust into mud and trails into rivers. Water poured into the tunnels, a sudden flood that trapped everyone. The ant laughter turned to panic. Tunnels filled with swirling, brown water. The colony was a maze of rising tides and desperate cries. They were trapped. In the chaos, Pip saw not a disaster, but a solution. His failed inventions were not failures at all. He grabbed his leaf wings. They weren't for flying. They were for gliding. Pip surfed on a leaf across the swirling water, a tiny, determined captain on a makeshift raft. He threw a twig hook and pulled struggling ants to safety, their tiny legs finding a grip on the sturdy wood. He gathered the scattered dandelion seeds from his failed parachute. The seeds floated like tiny rescue boats, and he pushed them toward the youngest ants, helping them float above the rising flood. He used his knowledge of the wind not to fly, but to navigate. He saw the currents in the water, the safe passages between the churning debris. The dreamer, the failure, was now their only hope. The colony, once his critics, now followed his every move, their lives depending on the very dreams they had mocked. Pip, the ant who looked at the sky, was the only one who knew how to survive the flood on the ground. Sometimes, the smallest dream saves everyone.